So, where to start? So, as you can tell by the title of the video, I am quitting YouTube. It's not a clickbait, it's not a way just to get views or whatnot. It is legitimate for the most part. I will say this, I do plan on returning to content creation because I enjoy it, but not in the space of Siege. And I can't put a time frame on when I will be returning, but it will be in some point later in my life. Currently, I'm 22. I just turned 22 last month in September. And so I want to allow myself to mature a little bit more to fully grasp the direction that I do want to take content creation in, which is a lot more of a personal development, self-improvement direction in the future in terms of every dynamic of a human being, whether it's physical, mental, financial, etc. And the way that I need to put myself in that position to educate others is I first need to go out and do it, which is why I said what I said about needing to mature more. I feel as if I'm pretty mature for my age already. I have a lot higher personal standards and personal tenets than most people do my age. And oftentimes, people my age don't really have a direction in the life that they want to go in, which is why I've made the decision to quit content creation entirely. Now, one of the biggest reasons as to why I'm quitting content creation as a whole, especially within Siege, is because of the game itself. So allow me to address this for a moment. So with Siege right now, if I'm just going to put it bluntly, I think a lot of people are lying to themselves when they think that it's still a game where there can be a future within it. And the reason that I've came to this conclusion and I've formulated this opinion is because for so long, since 2018 pretty much, with me being a fan and then turning my love for the game into a job and a career, I was inside the box. And a lot of content creators are inside the box right now. Now, what do I mean by inside the box when it comes to this? I think that since they are inside this investment in terms of relying on the game for a career and a path in their life, that they lie to themselves and make themselves feel like it's okay to continue with this path. And you already see a lot of other people in the Siege space that have left or do plan on leaving. So that just goes to show that my theory holds some sort of water and it has weight behind it. So that's why I've come to that conclusion, because I'm now outside of the box. I can see things a lot more clearly because I used to be in that same position that I just mentioned. And to be honest, man, it's scary because one of the biggest reasons for becoming a content creator is to be a self-sufficient and self-reliant individual. You want to get out of the 9-to-5 job. You want to express yourself through creativity. You want to only rely on yourself and enjoy what you do. That's a big reason. You can see it in a lot of trends nowadays with younger children throughout social media where they tell their parents, instead of wanting to become an astronaut or a doctor or a teacher or whatnot, a lot of them will say, I want to become a TikToker, a YouTuber and such. And that's where that whole drive and motivation comes from. And the thing that really made me push to the position that I'm in right now with wanting to quit YouTube was the self-reliance on Siege that I just mentioned. You know, it's a very scary thing to be codependent on something, in this instance Siege, where you rely on its survivability and exposure in order to give you a career and generate revenue to support your lifestyle and just basic needs. And I think if I'm a content creator right now and I want to continue in the space, I think that's a very, very, very scary thought. And if there are people who are in the content creation space within Siege, my advice to you is to heavily consider moving to another game or anything like that, because of what I said previously about lying to yourself and being inside this box. And so just to kind of wrap up everything that I've said on a personal level as to why I've came to this conclusion, I simply did not see a means to the end when it came to content creation. I didn't really know which direction to go in, and since it is inherently hard to convert from one game to another, if you want to make that decision, it's pretty much starting at ground zero again. So that's why you see a lot of content creators, especially in the Siege space, making second channels in order to fulfill that sustainability and foundation in another game and relying on that. You can already see it in practice throughout the community, which again goes to show my theory being proven. Now, I do want to say this about the game. I know a lot of what I just said was hating on it, was a negative perspective, and I would argue that yes, it may be negative, but it's also real. And I think that we live in a world today where too many people lie to themselves and look through the lens of emotion rather than logically and from a factual point of view. Numbers don't lie, facts don't lie. And so I say that to say this. I'm very extremely thankful and in a way fulfilled with what I've accomplished, the people that I've met, the relationships that I've created, and the memories that I'll cherish with what Siege brought me. Like I just said, it was a negative point of view with what I was just saying, but you also have to realize that what comes with the bad, also there's good, and that's the good from this. You know, ever since I was 11, 10, 12 years old, watching YouTubers like Syndicate, Vanoss, and any big creator in that space in the early 2010s made me want to become a content creator. And I can comfortably say I'm okay with what I've accomplished. And there's two parts to what I've just said, because I'm the type of person where I'm very, very obsessive when it comes to an idea or something that I want to accomplish. Just as an example, I don't mean to say this as a self-righteous way or, you know, an egotistical perspective, but when I lost 135 pounds in 6 months, there's very, very, very few people who can do that. And that just goes to show how obsessive I really am. When I truly want something in life, I put 110% devotion, focus, and outright commitment and sheer will until I achieve it. That's just the kind of person that I am. And with Siege, it came to a point where I didn't have that anymore. And I'm the type of person where I don't lie to myself either. I'm a very realistic individual. So when I see something where it's not fulfilling and I don't see a purpose behind it, then I simply won't do it. I understand how valuable my time is on this earth, and for me to sit here and lie to myself over and over just to make a few bucks a month with a video game doesn't really seem too self-fulfilling. But going back to what I said, I apologize for the rambling. This isn't scripted, so as you can probably tell. But nonetheless, going back to what I was saying, I'm very grateful and thankful for everything that I accomplished, all the people that I've met, being able to work with Ubisoft directly, whether it's playing seasons early or even them inviting me out to the Extraction tournament. That was a monumental moment in my life where I got to do something that I thoroughly enjoyed for a short amount of time. And I mean, come on. I got to make a little bag out of it as well. 13 grand in an hour and a half isn't too shabby. Now, as I said earlier on, I do plan on returning to content creation in some form. Like I mentioned, in some form of self-improvement for anyone and everyone in every aspect of your life. I truly am a kind of person where I want to be as optimized and efficient and applicable as I can for any situation in life. I seek knowledge on a level that most people don't my age. I absorb knowledge and I'm fascinated and infatuated by it. And I think that's just the way that I am. And I love teaching people and I love helping them get better at things. But I first need to learn and build a foundation before I try to teach others. So the last part, I think I've pretty much said everything that I've needed to say in terms of why I'm leaving, why I'm quitting, and such. As I mentioned previously, I'm the kind of person that when I am completely and utterly devoted to something, I don't take no for an answer, under the right circumstances, obviously. If I can obtain something and it's in my complete control and power, I will obtain it. So, what I'm currently doing with my life and where I see my life going for, arguably for the rest of my life. I've never been this excited, even though I'm speaking very, in a very monotone speech pattern right now. But the direction that I see my life going is one where I'm very excited and passionate about it. I don't see where there's a limit to what I'm doing, which what I am doing is I'm starting my own company. I'm not going to make it public as I want to have confidentiality when it comes to my attachment to my company, because I've already lived a life where I would say a large majority of it, to an extent, is public, and I want to keep that separation. I don't want to have an identity attached to something anymore, at least in terms of a business. Now, I will give you some details. It's nothing, well, I don't want to underappreciate myself with the hard work that I put in, but it's an e-commerce space, and that's all I'll say. I may one day make it public. Like I said, this is an aspect that I do plan on teaching people in the future, because I've done my research. I mean, just to say, for the past 3 months to 4 months, I've been doing nothing but working on this and educating myself. That's all I've been doing. So with that being said, I want to get to a point where I can educate people in this space, because I truly do believe that it can be the difference maker between being average or singularity in the path of life that you choose to walk. And I don't want to be average. I will not allow myself to be average. And again, that just goes back to who I am as a person and the things that I know I want out of my life. So that's that. I think for the most part, that's pretty much everything that I have to say. I'm not going to make any promises in this video to others. I'll only make promises to myself. Like I said, I will be returning to content creation at some point in my life. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow, a year from now, 5 years from now, 15 years. But I think it's inevitable that content creation becomes a large part of our society, and I don't see it ever not intertwining and being a co-inhabitant of everyday life. I think it's a tool that should be utilized by everyone under the right circumstances. Now, lastly, I want to take this last portion and just thank everyone who has either supported me for 24 hours, 2 weeks, a year, or the entire time that I've been doing this. The people who have been there since the very beginning, know who I'm talking to when it comes to that. I want to thank you guys for the devotion, the consistency, and how punctual you guys were with the support. And that just goes for everyone as well. Like I said, this has been something that I've wanted to accomplish for, ever since I was probably 10 years old. And now that I'm 22, I can safely say I've had a taste. I understand that when I do come back to this space, I'll be in a much more clear direction. And I think I'll appreciate it more because I'm more strategic the second time around. But back to what I was saying. You guys have made a dream of mine come true, and I could have not experienced it without you guys. It's just that simple. So you guys need to understand the inherent value that you provided to my life, and hopefully that I provided to you guys. All I can say is thank you. And you guys have given me a perspective and self-fulfillment that oftentimes people will never experience. But for the most part, that's pretty much it. If you guys want to unsubscribe, I completely understand. If you don't, there's really no point in subscribing or being subscribed anymore. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a new channel or if I'm just going to convert this one to what I said previously when that time comes. That will most likely be the outcome, but who knows. The ones who want to find me when that time comes will know how to find me, and the ones who don't won't. It's that simple. But lastly, I just want to thank you guys sincerely. And sometime in the future, I'll see you again.